There's no more need to speculate on what's next from Jaguar. It is the I-PACE, and it's what everybody here seems to be talking about. I'm going to talk about it with Ian Callum. Good to see you.
Hello. So it's good to see you again.
And wow, I mean, you've surprised everyone.
Yeah, we've kept this secret for quite a while now. I'm surprised we managed to keep it secret for so long because we've been working on this for over 2 years. This is a concept version of reality. But it's been a good feeling just to get it out there and let people see what we're up to.
When it comes to you and concepts, now the assumption is that that's how close it's going to be to the production version anyway.
Yeah, I'm a great believer if you show something, you should be able to deliver it. There are a few details in this where a touch of indulgence, but I think when you see the car about a year from now, you're not going to be disappointed. I'm pretty sure of that.
I can believe that. There was a lot of talk about, after the F-PACE, there was a lot of talk of how you're going to do something, like a compact crossover, and we've tried to get that out of you in the past. Does this necessarily have to remain restricted to an electric application only?
This car is pure electric. It's an electric platform, and from the ground up it's a brand new platform. And yes, this is fully restricted to electric. And it looks like this because it is electric. We cannot get a conventional engine into that hood or that bonnet. It's just physically impossible. Not that we'd want to anyway. So this is a pure electric car, packaged as electric car. And the great thing is, what we've done is we've moved the cabin forward. So for the car's given size, we've got a lot more room inside it. And of course for a Jaguar, that's obviously quite a nice thing. It's not always the best thing we do, but it's a nice thing for us to do. And so we've moved the cab forward, and that then related to me in a way that some of these sports cars, these mid-engine sports cars look. So we captured, if you look carefully, you'll see a little bit of CX-75 into this as well. And that's his fun bit, actually.
And it's very relevant to the segment, the space inside the cabin. So
it is indeed, and that's why people buy SUVs, because they want space.
I understand what you say about the platform, and so of course it has to be electric. But from a design perspective, a concept like this, a more compact crossover.
Well, no, I think if we were to do anything
conventional, obviously,
in a smaller segment, it'd probably take on a slightly different notion. But we're not going to talk about anything like that at the moment.
That's fair. Coming back to this, though, I heard what you said earlier about how it's almost like a clean sheet of paper. You have no sort of preconceived notions that come into it. At what point do you decide what direction to go in? Because the surprise is, for me, the big surprise is the way the car looks from the rear. It's so different to anything we've seen, and yet, of course, it has all the elements that tell you it's a Jaguar. How did you decide to go there?
Well, you have to do. I'm a great believer in doing things with integrity and from first principles. And if we design something like an F-PACE or whatever, we design it from first principles. The thing about this car is that one of its objectives is aerodynamics. Very, very important for an electric car to have good aerodynamics because of just for the range. The range is a key factor more than anything. And so we decided to accept the fact that aerodynamics would shape a lot of the car, especially the back end. And it was new territory for us, the aesthetic of it. It's much squarer, which gives you better aerodynamics. But you just embrace it. You get on with it and you make it work. There's no point in fighting against it because you're fighting against physics, So we work with it, and hopefully we create something which people still enjoy and still see as being elegant. And I'm happy with it. I think the rest of the car has got enough sveltness about it, enough curvaceousness about it to compensate for what is a very rigid rear end profile, and it works well.
But while that could be, a sort of a prerequisite that you have to work with, does it now give you certain design elements or cues that could go into the rest of the range as well?
Well, yeah, we've learned a lot from this, and I think aerodynamics is just not the domain, the province of an electric car, and they have to become more important for every car. So yeah, there will be parts of this you'll see evolving into future cars as well, but not this proportion. This proportion is absolutely dedicated to electric platform because it can be.
Now, the last time we met, I remember you'd already proclaimed that the F-PACE is going to be the highest selling Jaguar. Are you all sort of on the way on that road already?
Yes, we are. In fact, I think the volume.
We just got the car in India, by the way, just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
So.
No, we're on the road there. We're actually selling more than we anticipated. It has become the best-selling Jaguar ever, which I know is slightly ironic, but it's still a sports car because it's a sports
It's also the
SUV.
world we live in today, isn't it?
And it's the world we live in. And like, when you think of the history of sports cars, a lot of them is about the sheer enjoyment and performance. The thing about SUVs, of course, is they're so sophisticated now to give you all the dynamics that sports cars used to be able to. Now we've got to create sports cars that can even do it better than before. But it's the way the world's going, and literally the world, from China, India, Europe, the US, everybody wants SUVs.
So I'm calling that the showstopper already, and
Oh, thank you.
it is. It is, and from a design perspective purely, and let's not worry about the electric powertrain for a second. You just spoke about how successful the F-PACE is. Now we've seen this, which is another iteration of a different direction segment-wise for Jaguar. Are you comfortable with the fact that it's vehicles like these that could become the flagship vehicles for the brand, and not the sedans? It looks like it's going to happen.
Well, that's an interesting conversation, and we've had
You may not want to call it that.
We've had that conversation already. I'm a little uncomfortable at that fact. Time may prove you right, but I still think the flagship has to be a sedan. It doesn't necessarily have to be a sedan that is a conventional three-box. It needs to be a bit. For Jaguar, it always needs to be a bit more sporty. But I think the sedans, for at least the immediate future, will be the flagships. But you're absolutely right. Perhaps the norm is going to become the taller cars, and perhaps one day SUVs will be the flagships.
You hinted at a family of SUVs or crossovers or whatever you want to call them. That's going to be a reality sooner than we know it.
Well, we're very keen to see the success of crossovers. We're not ignoring it. But as long as we make as many sedans, sports cars, or even more than crossovers, or SUVs preferably, I feel comfortable. I think if we start creating more SUVs and sedans and sports cars, I'll be feeling very uncomfortable. But the world changes, who knows?
And lastly then, does this new direction with the electric powertrain also start to define what happens with the sedans in the future? Because you'll have to start taking that into consideration for
we
those
have
designs.
to take a lot of things into consideration. Is the future going to be electric now, or 5, 10, 15 years time? Or do we transcend slowly? How we do it is a big discussion. I see opportunity for both IC engines and electric engines to run parallel until one day the world's decided forever, which I think will be in about 20 years' time.
Yeah, we're still not there yet. The decision, it could be something we don't know today.
The jury is out. The jury is out, but we have to address it. We have to, not just from a legal or political point of view, but just from a social point of view, an ecological point of view. We have to produce zero-emission cars. Like, the world absolutely needs that. And to be fair, the car industry is doing a good job in this front, probably better than most industries around the world. So, and I know we get a lot of criticism for it because it's an easy target, but in reality, the car industry is working very hard towards less emissions, zero emissions, and this is a part of it for us. We have to do this.
Before I let you go, I always ask you this question: whether it's a production car, or show car, or concept, favorite element, your favorite design element.
As always, as I tell you, it's a big picture. The profile is unique.
You got to give me
car.
something.
I love the way we've developed the tail because it is new to us, and we've got these tail lights now, which have got what I call a chicane line, because we've gone from the horizontal roundels, which came originally from the E-Type. We're going to evolve them into something a bit more horizontal, a bit more modern. So if you look at the tail lamps, you'll see a detail hint to the future.
Can't wait to see it on the road now. So I know it's
it'll
not
look
very
really
far
cool.
away. So
It'll look really cool.
Thank you.
Thank you. Always a pleasure. Thank you.
Likewise.